When you're face grinding saw blades, you want your diamond section of your wheel facing your motor, and you want your saddle assembly always positioned in the first hole in the base plate and the first hole of the saddle assembly. Those will be in the written instructions. You can verify that location with the pictures and everything. So you're going to mount your saw blade through the stud of the cup and cone assembly, and you're going to have your teeth facing to the left. You're going to put your cone down, and then you're going to have a milled slot in the stud, and you're just going to want to center it in there nicely. Kind of make sure you turn around there. Kind of self-adjust this on there and tighten it down. You want a little bit of a drag. You don't want too much where it's, you know, hard to turn, but you want it to just turn nice and smoothly. Next, you're going to want to loosen your front stop and bring it back. You're going to want to loosen your diameter adjusting slide bolt, and you want to line up the face of your tooth to your diamond wheel. I'm going to bring it in like so, and just match that up. Now you can see that if I always position my right hand on my saw blade and my left hand underneath on the fixture itself. So that way I can, you know, swivel this around nicely. You can move it into different positions. So I'll just put it on that tooth, and I'll just move this blade till I get it lined up correctly. First thing, then you'll lock your diameter adjusting slide right here. And then I'll usually set my front stop. Your front stop, you want the carbide of the tooth to go all the way, the front of the carbide of the tooth to go past the diamond section so you get even wear. Bring it in, set my front stop, and then I like to felt pen the area that I'm going to be sharpening and mark the first tooth that I'm going to be sharpening, so that way I know when to stop. So when I do a scratch test, I'll just turn my motor on and turn it off and just give a nice light grind inwards to see if I got that whole surface matched up nicely. And here I can tell I'm perfectly matched up from front to the back. Now if I wasn't matched up and I was hitting more towards the very front of the carbide tooth, the very top profile part, then you can, instead of loosening everything up, you can take, if you need to hit the backside, you can take your motor and bring it to the right, and that's going to bring your saw blade backwards so you get the whole surface. Now if you were opposite and hitting more towards the bottom, you know, gullet area and needed to grind more of the top profile, if you brought your motor to the left, it's going to swing your saw blade that way to fine tune adjust. Those will be in the written instructions as well. So once you have it lined up, I always do about 4 good grinds on every single tooth that goes around the saw blade. And I'll show you exactly how you want even pressure going into that grinding wheel as well, so that way you get a consistent grind when you're face grinding. Now you can see I went around and face ground every tooth, and if you noticed when I went through there, I just did nice forward and backward strokes. When I came off, let off pressure to come out. You don't want to keep your pressure into that wheel at all, because then you might swing over and round your tip over. So just nice even passes on each tooth, and that's all it takes. Now I always set up, if I got 10 saw blades to do, I'll set up and face grind, and I'll face grind every saw blade. So here, you just loosen up your cone, remove that, put your next saw blade. If I have, you know, 3 of the combination blades that are the same make and brand, I'll usually sharpen those up because you won't have to adjust much of your setup, because the hook angle is going to be primarily the same. So you can look at your hook angles and match out your blades accordingly. because this one, that blade had a bigger hook angle than this one's going to have. This one's got more of a 5-degree hook angle, like I explained earlier. So now this one, you can see that I'm not going to be lined up at all, so I'll have to just loosen my slide here and match up to a tooth that I'm going to have. Loosen my front stop a little bit. Swing that in. Lock my slide. Come in here and I'm going to set my front stop. That way I don't grind in too far. Mark the tooth that I'm going to sharpen. Make sure I know what I'm sharpening. And then we'll do a little scratch test again. And here now I'm hitting just more towards the top profile, so I need to get and sharpen in more towards that gullet. So I'm going to just leave it here, and I'm going to bring my motor to the right to swing my blade a little bit. When I do that, you usually have to reset your front stop, because otherwise you might be going in too far or not far enough. And I'll do another scratch test. And it looks like I'm pretty good. I'm just going to mark one more tooth here just to make sure. Got a little bit too far. And now I'm hitting the whole surface good. And then you'll just go around and face grind every tooth just like I did on the other blade. Some saw blades will have an alternate face grinding bevel. It's not very common. If you do get one that has an alternate face grinding bevel, it's usually a 3 or a 5 degree. And in that application, you just bring your motor up to 3 degrees, sharpen every other tooth, and then bring the motor down 3 degrees, if that's what the degree is, and sharpen up every other tooth to face grind those.